Welcome back to the Mango Fox channel. How you doing? Come on in. Today we're talking about the third wolf who isn't inside you because he's screaming in a corner. That's right, today we're talking about Anxiety from Adventures with Anxiety. This game features two main characters, Human and Anxiety. We know Human because we play as Human IRL. However, the same can't be said about Anxiety Wolf. Sure, you might know what anxiety is, you might even push up your glasses and hit me with the actually. According to Wikipedia, anxiety is a worry about future events. But if understanding someone happens after you place yourself in their shoes, then ask yourself, have you ever placed yourself into the shoes of your anxiety? If you said yes, I don't know, good for you I guess. Adventures with Anxiety places you into the shoes of your anxiety. It makes you play as anxiety to finally understand this universal beast. And as it turns out, it's a very simple creature with only one goal. Your job is to protect your human from danger. It doesn't matter if that danger is real, because anxiety tries to protect you from everything. According to the National Institute of Health, anxiety is the body's reaction to stress and can occur even if there is no current threat. And since I assume you are a human and probably have experienced it yourself, you might assume anxiety is a bad thing. Most people do. However, according to the creator Nikki Case, this is actually a good thing. They explain on their companion website to the game that you would also want an alarm system to go off before the harm is done. This alarm system is called Fear. It's an alarm that predicts and tries to protect you from future harm. Thus, anxiety peering into the dangerous future attempts to raise fear in its human, which also drains their energy. And it does this using 3 alarm bells: the fear of being harmed, the fear of being unloved, and the fear of being a bad person. Given these 3 choices, how do you know which one is the correct one in any given situation? Easy. Let your anxiety take the wheel. Or, as the game puts it, let your anxiety come out to play. Pick what's most similar to what your fear tells you. Make the human sufficiently afraid, and the human won't do the thing the anxiety is screaming about. Or, as Anxiety Wolf sees it, congratulations, you kept your human safe. Our adventure as this cute anxious being takes place over 3 chapters, each one showing a dysfunctional relationship between the human and their anxiety. The only catch being that as the chapters progress, the stakes get higher. Chapter 1 starts us off with a fairly low risk situation, and we see anxiety freaking out over basically nothing. What began with anxiety sounding the alarm over eating a sandwich with white bread escalates slightly when something strange happens. Our human gets invited to a party. Anxiety immediately gets afraid of what might happen at that party, so we use our 3 alarm types to wear the human down until they freak out about the dangers of the party. And to anxiety, this is a good thing. The human will be safe. All in all, the stakes of Chapter 1 are fairly low. The same, however, cannot be said about Chapter 2. In Chapter 2, the human in fact goes to that party, and Anxiety Puppy isn't happy about it. As Anxiety sees it, danger is all over this party and we need to get out. And so Anxiety Puppy focuses on its goal. So once again, using the fear of being harmed, unloved, or being a bad person, it wears the human down. And just when it looks like anxiety will make the human run from the party host comes in and offers one of the most common methods to deal with anxiety: alcohol. If you've ever wondered why a nickname for alcohol is liquid courage, it's because it dulls the senses, including feelings of anxiety. There are many ways people drown out their anxiety. Alcohol just happens to be the easiest one to portray in a game. The host, being a terrible influence, tells a human that they have a trick to make the anxious voice shut up forever, a special blend. Stronger than anything legal. Anxiety, of course, recognizes that this is dangerous, but when we attempt to warn a human, she takes a sip, and for the first time, hurts us. Every sip of liquid courage weakens the anxiety, and soon, she's starting to ignore any warnings we might give. Tell the human that this is a bad coping mechanism, tell them that this is how addiction starts, and at this point, nothing anxiety does can make the human see reason, see fear, see that this situation is scary. The alarm bells are being ignored. Faced with this, anxiety has no choice but to use its special attack. And if you've been here, you know what I'm talking about. Anxiety takes one of its 3 alarms and goes nuclear on the fear, sending a crystal clear image to its human. And this vision finally breaks a human. Anxiety won, but at what cost? Well, that cost is that our human, deciding to do whatever they can to defeat anxiety, vows to kill the wolf once and for all. If that sounds like a recipe for reckless behavior, don't worry, that's called Chapter 3. The human goes back to the party. They get drunk off their ass on the top of a very tall building, and eventually the party host, proud of our human for overcoming their anxiety, tells our human to do something horrifying. They tell her to jump. And in this situation where you should immediately refuse and where all the alarm bells should be screaming, the human considers it. Mango, you might say, that's cap. Someone suffering from anxiety would never end up in this kind of situation. Well, surprisingly, yes they would. According to the National Library of Medicine, research as to why people do risky and impulsive things suggests that it can be triggered by extreme anxiety. And this brings us back to the horrifying situation. Our human ready to jump off of a building, and the game lets us know just how high the stakes are. This chapter has two possible endings. One is very, very bad, and there's only one thing our anxiety wolf wants to do: protect our human. It is very easy to get the ending where the human jumps. Some of you might think that this is very unrealistic, but this scene is a stand-in for the many ways people block out fear itself. I could remind you about how many people, trying to show how brave they are, speed only to end up in horrible accidents. But instead, I would like to offer the creator's personal story. Nikki Case explains, "I used to do random hookups and risky sex to drown out the sounds of my brain screaming. Finally, now that I paid no attention at all to my fear, I walked straight into several abusive and dangerous situations. Rather than be unrealistic, the game is disturbingly so. However, there is also a good ending, an ending where the human doesn't jump. They realize that sometimes it's okay to be afraid. Anxiety isn't the bad guy, and she leaves the situation." Is this a cheesy ending? I'd argue no. The game creator argues that no technique will fully work if you believe that fear is an enemy to be overcome or conquered, or an annoying thing to mindfully put up with. What Case instead argues is that the mentally healthy don't cope with their emotions, they collaborate with them. They know how to listen to and act on and recalibrate the signals. Alright, I know I got a little sappy. You guys are here because you want to know whether I would consider anxiety to be furry bait. As always, there's only one way to find out. Yep, furry bait. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, consider smashing that like and subscribe. And if you really want to be my sugar daddy to fund more of these videos, consider becoming a channel member or a Patreon. Anyway, that's it for this video. Until next time, stay awesome and have a nice day. Bye!